Because very often we have no control over what is coming our way. If you're a swimmer in lane 4, if you're an Olympic swimmer, you're on the last 8, right? It's the big day. Maybe there's Ian Thorpe, there's Grant Hackett on one side, there's the Dutch swimmer whose name I can never pronounce on the other side, and there's Michael Phelps on the other side. I'm making an admission here because every kid in my school quiz knows the name front and back and knows the coach and the coach's wife and the aunt as well. Now there's a swimmer in lane 4. The swimmer has got absolutely no control over what the swimmer in lane 5 is going to do. No control over what the swimmer in lane 1 is going to do. All he has control over is what he is going to do. If he keeps worrying about what the swimmer in the next lane is doing, then he is preventing himself from performing as well as he can. And they believe, and I believe from the little sport that I have seen, that matches are won or lost not because another team plays better, but because a team doesn't play as well as it can. And I have great faith in that theory of making the result irrelevant. Do the best you can and take what you take what you get. And actually, if you see what Australian sports scientists and managers are saying today, it's no different from what your grandmother told you. She told you, karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't worry about the fruit. And I think that is the path to excellence. And that's something I have seen. You know, it's funny that every time I've done something because I've loved doing it, and I said, yeah, I love doing this. Let me go and do it to the very best I can. You really can't do more than that. Do it to the very best you can. And I've got paid more than I think I should have. I never told them that, but I got paid more than I thought I should have. And every time I've told myself, yeah, this looks like easy money, let me do it. It hasn't happened, or something's gone wrong somewhere. And I keep getting this feeling that there's something telling me, listen, don't worry about the ends. Just do your job as well as you can. And that's something I've believed in for a long time. And my first revelation, my first awareness that rather than saying why, you could say how. Maybe I can. And then I read the story of one of my greatest heroes, Tiger Patowdy. Can you imagine playing international cricket? At 21, he was breaking batting records around the world. And then life dealt him a hand that a lot of us thought was unfair. And he lost an eye in an accident. I met him many times, and the one thing that struck me about him, apart from the fact that he was very stylish, he was very charming, he was a wonderful human being, was not once did he talk about what might have been. Not once. He never said, you know what, if I'd seen the cricket ball with both eyes, I might have done better. He averaged 35. And in an era of flat pitches where you see people averaging 50 plus routinely and you think, what was 35? I'll tell you a story that he wrote about in his book, about the first proper first-class cricket match that he played after he had a glass eye installed. And he would try to cover his bad eye, therefore, with his cap, so he would only see with one eye. Now just try and imagine people actually watch side on like that. So he's got to watch like this so that he's watching with his right eye, which is the better eye. And he said he saw 2 cricket balls coming at him. Just imagine you're playing a fast bowler and you're seeing 2 cricket balls coming at you. And he said, I played and missed, and I played and missed, and I realized the lower of the 2 balls was actually the correct ball. And so he said, I picked the lower ball, and he made a half century picking the lower ball. That is when you realize what skill really is. Can you imagine what skill that must be? To see 2 balls coming at you and picking the lower of the 2 balls and being good enough to score a half century. And I thought that was another great example to me of someone who never complained, just got on with life and made the best of what you could. And I have no doubt in my mind that Tiger Patowdy would have been regarded today as one of the greatest batsmen to have played the game. He averaged 35, but hang on, he was no less a hero to all of us because of what he could actually go out and achieve. On one of my first tours to Australia, I was working my backside off. And honestly, I think the fastest path to excellence is to work your butt off. Not necessarily to work every day in office till 9 o'clock at night, but try and work as hard as you can and do the best you can. And I wanted to do cricket commentary. And the Australian Broadcasting Corporation would not pay me for it because I was the overseas broadcaster. And the convention is that the overseas broadcaster is paid by his station. My station was All India Radio. They didn't even know I was going. So there was no question of being paid by them. So I used to write 2 newspaper reports a day, one for the afternoon papers, one for the night paper. There used to be video magazines then. You know, you didn't have, it was still 91, 92. I mean, the World Wide Web was 5 years ago. That's how antique we are talking about. And so at the end of every test match, I'd write for a magazine, I'd get that translated into Marathi, write for a Marathi magazine, I'd do all this. But my biggest perk was I would host columns for the 3 cricket captains. Chief, if there's one thing you want to take away from this hour you're getting with Sundar, may it be that. Let yourself be insecure from time to time. It's a lovely thing. The moment you start to get secure, and I can tell you we all, because we've seen a little bit more life, the moment you get secure, you're actually moving backwards. But I learned so many interesting things. I learned about how you can make use of your resources so much better. And it was absolutely fascinating. One of my favorite cricketers was at that time was disabled, and he should never have played cricket, to be honest. He finished his cricket career with more wickets than runs, simply because he didn't have the strength to play shots, and he used to throw the ball left-handed. He used to bowl right-handed and throw the ball left-handed because the left was a stronger hand. And we used to watch B.S. Chandrasekhar play. He was afflicted by polio as a child, and sometimes they said he was quicker than our new ball bowlers of the time. And we copied him, and I said, he could so easily have said, why me? And not played cricket. Instead, he found that he had a greater skill. He could do things with the ball that people with normal wrists could not. And so when Viv Richards retired, he said, the only bowler I was scared of, he said, I played a lot of fast bowlers, but the only bowler I was scared of was B.S. Chandrasekhar. And we used to spend a lot of time imitating his bowling action, and he was a big star for us. And it gave me a great opportunity of meeting twice in every test match, of sitting with Alan Border for 15-20 minutes. And he said something I tell every young Australian cricketer. He said, I always tell them, take care of the runs and the dollars will take care of themselves. And I think that's something every management student, or indeed every practicing manager, must frame and put up. The path to excellence is through runs, not through dollars. And I've seen too many examples of outrageously talented young Indian cricketers who chase the dollar, or given the way the dollar is going, maybe we should say chase the rupee, because it's getting stronger, isn't it? Who chased the rupee and lost the runs. And I think in a sense, that to me is what excellence is about. Excellence is chasing your performance goals and letting the result take care of itself. In fact, in Australia, there are a lot of coaches now who are starting to say, make the process of achievement supreme and make the result irrelevant. The Australian cricket coach says that, the Australian swimming coach says that, and the idea being you perfect the process of performance and don't allow the pressure of the result to choke your performance. And to me, that's a wonderful journey on the path to excellence. The one thing I've learned from watching sports people, and I don't know if I can tell that to you because you practice that every day. It might seem very stupid. It's like when you're kids, we heard this expression, taking coals to Newcastle. But one of the things I've learned from sports people is, and from the very best sports people, is that they don't understand defeat. They don't accept it. If they're thrown an obstacle in the way, they say, right, this is an obstacle, how am I going to overcome it? And that is how they become great. Every time they find themselves in a situation where they're going to lose, because in cricket matches you lose, it's a small aspect of play, you win and you lose, that's all right. But every time they're in a position where they're going to lose, they say, right, this is the position I'm in, I'm not going to complain about why I'm in this position, because that's all right. But given that I'm in this position, how can I win? And I think that's true of so many of us in life. I'm in a situation, rather than complain about what the situation I'm in, how can I win from here? And I think that is why they become great, because that is how they pull out matches and win matches they're not supposed to win. I don't know if some of you see cricket matches that are won by teams that are not supposed to win, or teams that are in a position from where you don't really expect them to win. But they say, hang on, how can I win from here? What can I do to win from here? I've got these cards. Now what can I do? And I guess it's a battle a lot of you fight every day. But you'll be delighted to know that there are other people who also fight similar battles. Or you might be only down to 10 players or 9 players. Most teams are down to 9 players in a football match. You'll say, oh my God, I'm down to 9 players. The great teams will say, right, I'm down to 9 players. 9 versus 11, that's all right, isn't it? In the Hindi movies, one guy beats 25, so why can't 9 beat 11?